this developing story here. Arkansas authorities looking to whether a job in the prison kitchen played a role in the weekend escape of a convicted former police chief known as the Devil in the Ozarks. Grant Hardin, who is 56 years old, and you'll see his photo again in just a second, was housed in a maximum security wing of the medium security Calico Rock prison, where he also held a job in the kitchen. That is according to Arkansas Department of Corrections. Authorities have said that Hardin escaped Sunday by donning an outfit that was designed to look like a law enforcement uniform. Rob D'Amico, a friend of the show, retired FBI agent and the host of Inside the Line with Rob, that's a YouTube podcast, joining us now to discuss really all of this and what happens next. Thank you so much, as always, Rob, for taking the time to be here with us.
Good to be here, Josh.
All right, so first off, I have to ask, because we're not just talking about an escapee like we saw with the 10 escapees over in New Orleans, but we're talking about a former police officer. So how does that kind of change things here?
Well, it's kind of like having inside baseball knowledge. So he's probably gone to training. They may have done fugitive manhunts. But he knows how police operate. So he knows what they're going to be doing. And the problem with that is, one, it's easier to avoid if you know what they're going to do. Two, you also knows the vulnerability. So I would say, like, if you're doing surveillance, and especially in fugitives, you think he may be getting help from a family or support member. So you're watching the place and you're sitting there watching. And sometimes you'll go down to one cop in a car to do that, to spread the manpower out, because if you see something, then you radio it in and they bring a tactical team in. The problem is he knows that. And you're very vulnerable when you're doing surveillance because you're watching the target. Your entire back is exposed to someone sneaking up. So if he's going in and out of somewhere and he knows to lay back and see who's watching the place, then that can put that, police officer, even if it's two of them, at a disadvantage to be snuck up on. So the other thing I think is with vehicles. He knows that if he steals a vehicle, if it's reported right away, that increases the chances of, one, his location being known, two, them looking for a vehicle. And they can do that easier with helicopters and other things and roadblocks. So that means, well, if he steals it, either he does it without the knowledge at all of the owner, or if he carjacks it, what do you do with the owner? Because if you put him out on the street, that's the risk. So he may do something violent in order to hide the fact that he has that vehicle for a while. So those things that come in play when you're out looking for him.
When you talk about the fact that he had this job in the kitchen, we know that investigators, authorities there have said that they're looking into whether that maybe played a role somehow in his escape. How do maybe those job assignments cause potential issues, security issues like this?
Absolutely. I think the big thing, one that stands out in the prison, he was in a medium security prison, even though, quote, now they're saying he was in the max security part of that medium security prison. Why was a guy facing 80 years, which is a death sentence for him in jail for, one, first-degree murder and rape in a medium security jail? Just not the place for him. Two, you give them a job, any job in the prison where you're out of your cell and you can look around and you can understand the movement of people, things, and places, and have access to other things, increases the likelihood of you being able to figure out a way to escape. If he was in a cell in his in his block and then out in the yard every once in a while, he's not getting access to behind the scenes operations like food deliveries. How's that go? How do they bring people in and out? He can be understanding the complacency of the guards, which I think may have happened when the guard let him out. And he may be able to get access to whatever he made that uniform out of. Somehow he got access to, or he could have got food and traded it to a guy who works in the laundry room to get clothing. So again, outside the cell, giving them something like that gives them access to understand how the prison operates more.
Rugged terrain there in the Ozark Mountains, as you have people searching. When you're talking about flatland, maybe it makes it, I would imagine, a little bit easier. But when you talk about a region like that, how does that make it tougher when you're trying to search for one person who is on the run?
Oh, it's extremely difficult. You look at, there's a couple factors. The tree cover is huge, and it is spring. So it's not like it's winter where the trees don't have leaves on it, that you'd be able to get up in the air with the helicopter or drone and even look at it from thermal imagery wise. The layer of canopy over it really makes it difficult. Two, it's a very rainy season. When we were looking for Eric Rudolph, kind of like this in the mountains of North Carolina, you would walk a little bit and then you'd stop and listen, and you'd be listening for movement, and that's easy detectable. But when it's pouring rain, you can have someone running very close to you, you're never going to hear it. So the hills come into play because there's caves and there's all kinds of other things. I think there's probably, like in North Carolina when we're looking, there's hunting cabins and fishing cabins out there that people don't go to, but they're accessible to a fugitive that's looking for a place to hold up and shelter. Maybe they all have stockpiles of food in it. You can get in there for a couple of days, get the food, and then move on. It's a very difficult area to look for someone.
When we talk about Hardin's violent criminal history here, the public obviously paying close attention to all of the developments, all the information that's coming in, the photos, everything. What precautions do folks out there who are in that region and really in general need to be focused on?
Big thing is locking, obviously locking your windows, your doors, locking your car. You want to watch your neighbors too. If you can, in proximity, is someone lurking about, watching for a vulnerability, an opportunity to do something. If you're driving at night and you're coming up to a stop sign or red light, be very cautious of who may be out on the corner or something, because again, if he's looking to get a car, he doesn't want to stop a moving car. But if you stop at a stop sign or a red light, he has ability to ambush you, get your car, and then move on. So again, it's precautions. I think in Arkansas there, from what I've seen in the interviews, a lot of people are armed down there. And he probably knows that. I mean, he comes from there. He knows the area. But if they're armed, that also gives him the opportunity, if he can get a jump on them, to then take their weapon from them. Now he has a weapon on top of it. So like I said, it's dangerous. Situational awareness, pay attention to everything. Especially in the woods outside your area. Keep the external lights on. He doesn't want to go to where he's seen. So if you have exterior lighting, keep those on all night, so to speak, because he definitely always want to be in front of lighting and on a camera that someone can report him.
And we've seen several prison escapes recently, whether it's at a jail or a prison. We have this one. We have the situation over in New Orleans with those 10 inmates that were somehow able to escape, 2 of them still on the run weeks later. Before I let you go here, anything you want to say about that situation as that one still continues to develop?
Well, I think it's one of those cases that was so egregious, 10 people at the same time, and how it happened. They had some inside help, obviously, and we'll have to look at this one in Arkansas. Was he able just to manipulate the system, or did he have some support? He'd been in there a number of years to be able to study it. But what you're looking at is technology is out there that can help them. Even if they cut down, like in New Orleans, I think manpower was an issue, funding to get things fixed. There's simple AI solutions that you can put on camera systems that can do facial recognition, that can do if there's a movement outside of the norm at 1 a.m. and there's movement in the cell area, it can alert multiple people. So it's not just one point of failure of someone to go and get dinner. And again, with this one, maybe facial recognition, if it was on that camera system, would have recognized him as an inmate and not obviously an employee. So there's always a balance between manpower and technology. What's the right balance? But I don't see any of this being used in there where you can actually take advantage of that technology. And it's not as expensive as people think.
All right, Rob D'Amico, thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to join us. I'm sure we'll be in touch here as this continues to develop. We appreciate it.
Thank you.